Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast, the soft skills that separate the 1%. We're going to dive into it today. This is going to be one to share with your team. And you know what's wild is I have one of my most visited podcast guests back on. And maybe we do this every couple years because this podcast has been around since 2016. But I have Kellie Johnson back. Let me just remind you, she joined me for the 5 ways to wow your clients,
Okay.
another podcast, Learning and Leading. We introduced her, and we will today, as a top 200 salon honoree and rating your team based on 20, 60, 20. These are all episodes we will share in our show notes for you to go back and listen to. And today we're getting into those soft skills that separate the top 1%, which Kellie runs a top salon in North America. So she is one to listen to. Her sense of the human spirit matched with her flair for making people and surroundings beautiful makes her exceptional in the beauty industry. With over 35 years of experience, Kellie continues to advance her education, so key, believing that education and team building provides the pathway to the highest levels of competence and confidence, the motivational keys to anyone wishing to be the most successful in salon performance and professionalism. As a salon owner for the past 24 years, Kellie has inspired her own team to be the best they can be through training and leadership. Her salon has been featured in Salon Today as a top 200 American Salon magazine, top 50 salons, and the receiver of the American Salon Pinnacle Award. She is one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, of this industry. And she's a prior educator for Redken. She loves sharing her knowledge with owners and stylists and colorists all over the country. And her experience goes beyond the salon even. She was a freelance hair and makeup artist in New York City, including Fashion Week, photo shoots, TV, film. She did work with NBC, Bravo, and MTV. If you remember MTV.
Mhm.
Without further ado, help me welcome certified professional coach and certified hypnotherapist and Myers Briggs certified expert. We have the one and only Kellie Diana Johnson back to be on the technique. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe it's been that many times.
Hey,
No
when you know a
recollection.
good thing, you reach out, you know a good thing, you're like, I got to get her back on.
Yeah.
Well, to shine a light on you, and you've stood the test of time. You've been through so many seasons of this industry, and you have such a cool background. I would just love to hear, because really, we have not had you on since around that COVID period. So, what have been the past 5 years? What does it look like for you? What new things have you done for your salon business and even yourself as a leader in this industry?
Um, so going back to COVID, 2020, um, since then, I won't even go into like the code. Nobody wants to go back to like that period. But since then, 3 years ago, I got out of my 3,500 square foot space, that my rent was about $30,000 a month. Um, and I bought a small location. So I went from 27 chairs to 6 chairs in Spring Lake, New Jersey. So I bought the space, especially at this point in my life too. It's like, where am I going? Um, and I think COVID left me feeling like I really want to be responsible for that kind of like rent? And it was just really big, and I just wanted something more like downtown feel again. So we moved. I moved everybody. I think there was just one person that didn't come with us at the time. So as you can imagine, when you have 35 people or so going to 6 chairs, you're shifting out, which we always shifted. We always had shifts. Um, so it was kind of like just making it like a little tighter. And I moved to Spring Lake and with 6 chairs, and it was kind of great. In the meantime, we had like 9 pregnancies in 2 years with the girls because some have been with me for so long. And then I opened a second location just 2 blocks away. The joke is I don't like to commute. But really, it started as the overflow of Elan because I just needed a little bit more space. I downsized a little too small. Um, and our first year here in our new space, we were just under 1 million our first year with 5 chairs. So
Wow. Okay, so I'm writing all this down. I love this. So First off, everybody listening, go to the link in our show notes and follow Kelly's Salon, Elon Hair Studio on their Instagram. Your location is beautiful. I love the both locations. There's just such a beautiful vibe and energy to them. And the first one was too, but it's just different. It's got that boutique. I don't know. There's something special about it that you can't get in normal commercial spaces. I'm curious, did you also buy the location that's 2 blocks away?
No, it wasn't for sale. I wish I
Yep.
could have. Um, I just it's about the same size, a little bit bigger. I bought out the salon. Actually, it was a girl that used to work for me years ago, had a salon there. She was pregnant, having her second baby. I think her life was going in a different direction. Um, and I just called and said, "Are you interested in selling?" I just needed more space. I didn't need the salon, and nobody stayed because it was kind of like she didn't really have much going on there as far as people or anything. And I got it open in a couple months. Um,
Huge.
and so we just have, we have the salons, they're connected. We do different product lines to just keep it like a little different. But it's been great as far as going back and forth.
I think that's really cool. Do you have stylists that will work at both locations?
Yeah, I kept them as separate companies. I try not to do that, but it does happen. So because we're tight on space and we're so shifted out, I do have, one person, she'll work one day over at Canvas just to get that extra day in. Um, for the most part, it's separate, but then we do have some hybrid.
You'll work it out on a
Yeah,
one-to-one.
like
Yeah, I get
if
you.
it, you
Very,
know,
very cool. I think that you've come to the other side of things in this industry. Like, what do you see has been the biggest shift across the board? Like, how is salon business today than it was 5 years ago?
wow. I think 5 years ago was right after COVID, which was for us, we were, I mean, extremely busy. Um, Now I think for me personally, it's like I have a generational gap now because I've been in business for so long. So I have we call them the OGs that have been with me, uh, 13, 14, 15, 23 years like an up. And then I have the newbies and then a few in the middle. So I think that's probably the first time in the past few years that I've felt that generational gap, of it's like I don't have many kind of like at the like third in the 30. It's like young 20s, couple in like they're getting into their early 40s, and then there's me on the top. But um that's over 40 for sure. So I think that's been a change that I've had. And then, I mean, social media is just, kept going, right? Like when I look at my first Instagram post, that was 2000, I think 11 or 2012, 2013, when Instagram was like what's first coming about.
Yeah.
So that's changed in, with marketing, but then I still go back to this grassroots. I still think it's like, you know what, we're in a downtown, and my conversation this morning with my team was like, walk the town, introduce yourself, making that
Mm,
connection with people
yeah.
and not hiding behind the Instagram screen so much too. You have to have a
Mhm.
presence, right? It's your digital chair. Um, but I still think I believe in that like more cross marketing, grassroots, guerrilla marketing, you could call it, just
Mm.
talking to people, you know,
Well,
walking up to somebody.
it's kind of diving into the soft skill topic because we are in a very face-to-face relationship based business model. So
Yeah.
no matter how you get the client in the door digitally, you are eventually going to be face to face. So I love that you do grassroots, like encouraging that face to face, get out and meet the people. I think that's special. And people who are willing to do that or have the courage to do that are going to stand out in a new way. I mean, there's a lot of people exiting social media too for just mental health or wellness purposes. So it's very interesting how we might see that shift in the coming years. But I love that you encourage that. And soft skills has always been a top priority for you. So tell me, as a leader, why is this passionate for you? Like, where do you start when it comes to working with your team on building their soft skills?
Um, it starts from the beginning. Like number one, I hire for personality and I'll train you for talent. That comes like first and foremost. But then it is the personal grounding. That's life and leadership. That will help you build a clientele. Our meeting this morning was all about that. It's making a client feel seen and heard, and making them feel important in your chair before a haircut. Haircuts like kind of like the expectation of doing a good haircut or hair color or whatever it may be as far as service is there. But if you can exceed someone's expectation of them feeling a connection and feeling heard and feeling seen and safe and like a calm confidence from the stylist, I think that right there, energy attracts like energy, you know? So I've grown my business over these years. Yes, we have systems in place, but it comes down to that I focus on them, my team, and they focus on the client. And then it's building their own skills of, we talked about gratitude and happiness and being non-judgmental and compassion and kindness. At the end of the day, it's like a client's gonna leave remembering how you made them feel when they were there, not necessarily the look. That's second to the positive psychology end of it, I would say. So I think that's kind of like that's like the core of everything, right? And it's the same as when I coach salon owners, it always comes back to them. It's like you're one person. We wear many hats, but you're still one person. The core that life and leadership is so important, to grow and build.
I love that that is foundational for you and your team. When you are, do you feel like this is harder to adopt for some of the next generation stylists? And if so, what's the reason for that? If not, they're willing to adopt it, but here's what they may not have been taught yet. How do you nurture that or get them to put in the behaviors? So for example, if you and I were behind the chair with a guest, it would be second nature for us to be all about the guest, ask them questions, dive deeper into it, all the things, while maintaining your expertise and guiding them in that process. How do you teach those soft skills to somebody newer who may or may not be willing to kind of embrace that?
Well, I think it starts at that apprentice level. We have a training program where it starts with an I've said to you, Katie, it's like the word confidence comes up a lot, especially I believe that's why we have such a high dropout rate, 75%, I think, after the first 5 years, that people like go into our industry and they drop out. And I believe that they don't have like the training, and more so than the technical training, they don't have the personal grounding training that is needed to deal with people. We're in a people business. So confidence is a word. I do one-on-ones with the apprentices. And confidence has come up quite a bit. And it's like confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a skill. So when we put it that way, it's like, okay, so how do we become more confident? So let's set a goal, and you're going to build your confidence when you meet your goal. So say I have them do models, right? Like, all right, they have to do 8 blowout models. And they say they're going to do this and they're going to post on their social media so they gain a presence. So there's all these like things we do. It's not about them like kind of building their skill on their blowouts, which they're getting. It's more so making that goal of I'm going to do this many blowouts, I'm going to post this many times, and I'm going to meet you back in 4 weeks. It's about achieving what you set out to do. That's what builds confidence, you know? So knowing that confidence is a skill and it's not a feeling, and you can build your confidence by doing what you say you're going to do is just the first step. And it's so easy. But so many times, like I joked with my team this morning, I asked for new bios. I said, please have them to me by Sunday. for the website. And I got one out of the team. And, a lot of it's like, oh, I forgot. I forgot. I said, well, I'm going to forget to do payroll. I haven't forgotten to do payroll in 24 years. It's like, so it's like, again, it's like just using your word with integrity, not to,
Mm,
that's from the four agreements, but
yep.
using your word with integrity and like doing what you say you're going to do and then being consistent, that builds trust and that builds trust in you. And then at the end of the day, you're proud of yourself. Like I think when I can get somebody to grow as an individual and really come to like like do hard things, right? Like earning your way.
Mm,
Like a lot of people want things, right? But then it's the question of what's your willingness to achieve what you want. So it's like pick your hard. Life is hard, right? It's all hard. So pick your hard and do it and just do what you say you're going to do. And
yep.
then all of a sudden, like you're building that. And it's the same with happiness. It's not the I'll be happy when. It's like you have to be happy. Happiness comes first, not after you achieve something. So confidence is built by doing what you say you're going to do. Happiness starts like with you, and then there's ways you can rewire your brain to be more happy and be more optimistic instead of pessimistic or negative. It's like you choose that.
Mm. Well, and even the confidence, speaking to, let's say, owners who have been shooken up, they
Yeah.
don't want to put pressure on their team because they're fearful of people not staying with it, not buying in. Like, how do you coach other leaders and owners in the industry to expect these skills to be committed to and developed over time? And how do you teach them to teach their team? How do you coach them to be the coaches for their team?
I think it definitely it goes back to them, first and foremost. You can't read a book on leadership and be a good leader. So it's like, how are you leading by example? Or, what does that look like for you? Living your life through curiosity over fear. I think you have to be able to have, like, I care for my team so much, and they know it. Like I'm able to have call them fierce conversations, call them difficult conversations. I'm going to sit them down, but it's like they never leave my office feeling like I don't like them. We're talking about the behavior, right? And then where does that behavior come from? What is it, is it a confidence issue? Um, someone's not busy, but they're sitting in the back room and we all know our back rooms in our salons, right? And they're on the phone scrolling all day. But they're complaining that they're not busy. So it's like I think it's how you go about things. Um, if the owner, I do believe it trickles down. So I have a big sense of responsibility. So if the salon owner is negative, you're gonna have negativity, trickling down. Um, so you have to I try to get the buy-in of the big picture. What do we all want?
I do think you've invested so much in your own growth. You're
Yeah,
certified in all these ways. You're essentially like a therapist for your team, but
right.
that's because you invested in getting yourself better as a leader. I
Well,
mean, and even with like, I know you've done all sorts of things, even things that weren't listed in your bio of like Tony Robbins trainings and different things like that. So for owners listening who may not have that training, probably getting that training for themselves is key. What else would you want to share with them? Or because I mean, if I had you around, I'd be like, I need to talk through this. And I hope that the team values that because that is not, um, and maybe Kelly, this is the big shift. When I said, what's the big shift we've seen?
Mhm.
Maybe it's also that owner's soft skill that they need to develop is how to kind of provide those counseling sessions without diagnosing personality disorder or whatever it is, right? Like without being diagnostic of it, but like, how do you help owners get to this place of like, hey, oh my gosh, I need to almost coach or counsel differently because this is a whole new ballgame than previous. I mean, it's never not been about the soft skills.
No, it's always been about that. And I think for me, are what the one-on-ones, the feeling that they feel connected to me. I'm running back and forth between two salons. Like I would say for me personally, it's always been about me trying to get to be the best version of me, right? So that I can give the best to them. Um, so I th- I think that's where to be successful, you have to connect with your team. You have to be able to be one-on-one with them. You have to be a vault too. And when I say vault, I mean you have to be I think trust is huge.
Mhm.
Like you have to be trusting that somebody is going to open up with you because so you don't know what's going on in someone's life. So I always I walk around I'm like I'm definitely a vault if they only knew what I knew.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think God, I think it's such a big responsibility, especially in the salon. It's not like you're starting a small business and you're selling a just a product, right? And you need a couple salespeople on your retail floor. Like we're dealing with people and having a team of people.
Didn't you have that experience though? Didn't you have an ice cream shop? Remind me. I feel like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, I did have that, and I had Blush that was a makeup
yeah.
studio slash retail store. Um, but again, it's all like, we call it customer service, but it's like just first impressions, walking up, being friendly. I mean, I just went out last night for dinner and the girl at the hostess stand was so miserable looking. She was such a beautiful girl too, and I don't think she smiled once. And I thought to myself, this is she'll be happy when she gets a new job mode because she clearly wasn't happy at work, right? And don't we all want everybody to love their job? If you have a business, don't you want everybody to love
Yep.
working for you, you know?
And you could see it clear as day. She was not loving her life in that
Oh
moment.
God. No, she was, I'll be happy when I get a new job. This is awful.
Mm.
Like she was, yeah, very
Mm.
unhappy as she sat us at our table. Um, but it's super interesting. And so this is somebody like I would like love to like what's going on in her world, you know?
Yeah.
To be like so young and so pretty and again, outlook is so different.
Outlook is huge. I think there's a couple of lies that I see in our younger generation. The first lie is that if I'm popular on social media, I'll be successful in my career.
Yeah.
And the second lie is if I'm really good technically at my craft, then I'll have a superior successful career. And that is not true. So if you had to pinpoint this to what are the consistent things that may become boring, but if you do these things over and over, this career will be good to you. It'll be life giving. You'll have joy because it'll be on the superficial and you'll actually be able to sustain a successful like financial life as well if you do this. What would you say that those things are?
Well, first impression. If I was going to say how to build a healthy clientele, the steps would be your first impression and greeting the client and just making them feel seen and heard. Like in that, and two is like consultation. That's when you're building trust. You're asking questions about them. It could be the first time someone's listening to them. Um, Rebooking is huge. I think that's one thing I've seen kind of like with the newer generation, like not so much focused on the rebooking. Rebooking is that's showing, what's happening in 6 weeks from now. To my guys, I tell them, I'm like, I want you to pretend the ones that are newer on the floor, pretend that you're fully booked. What does she look like? How does she feel? And like be that person when you get that client in and that you're like, okay, like let's look at 6 weeks from now to keep your hair looking this amazing. Is Wednesday or Thursday good for you? Asking questions that aren't given a yes or no answer is huge because that'll use the other side of the brain. Not changing the mindset that you're not selling. Again, retail, right? How many times have we heard that? Nobody wants to sell, but honestly, to be professional, and give your client the full service. It's educating them what you're using, how you're using it, why you're using it on their hair, which you learned what they wanted through the consultation, right? And then the truth is, when that client does purchase product from you, they go home. So when they're shampooing their hair, they're going to think like, oh, you know what? Katie gave me the shampoo. So it's building that relationship through those things that are going to build your business.
Mm.
You know what I think is huge too that it's not done enough, and I said it today, is follow up. Shoot,
Can
shoot
I
it.
just show you something crazy? Follow up.
I can't see it, but it says it. Yeah,
I'm taking notes on your, and I added the follow up as my little thing to prompt the next question on it.
yeah,
Huge miss. And the reason I bring it up
yes,
is because coming off different surgeries in my life,
yeah.
I've seen lymphatic drainage massage therapists to help with the body to heal. And she's the only practitioner I've ever worked with who,
Mhm.
after every single visit, personally reaches out and asks, "How are you feeling? How is this?" Like, and it's custom. It's not some, "How did it go? What do you do?" It's not,
Right,
it is not blanketed. It is very personalized.
right.
And I am loyal. I pay $145 for a 60-minute session with her. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, like, she's my person and I refer everybody to her. So
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up. Look at how fired up I got about it. Like,
Because
it's
it's
special.
so true. It's so true. It's like the question is then, so why aren't we? Because we've got software that I just I'm adding the chat to a chat box this week that they can text the clients right from the salon. I'm like, you don't have to, some DM, I guess. But I'm like, why aren't we following up? Like how, it was great meeting you if it's a new client. How are you enjoying your hair? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever the follow-up and feedback is huge. I respond to every single review. If you go on a lawn hair studio, I think we got 1,086 reviews, something like that. But there is a response to every single one. Just thank you for taking the time to review us. Um, so it's like I teach the girls that kind of stuff too. Like that's going to show up, like our, the search engine and but the follow-up, I was all about that this morning. That's so weird that you wrote that,
I
you know?
love that you brought up too, just mindset. And, when we think about emotional intelligence, one of them is self awareness.
Yes.
How do you teach your team to redirect? What I mean by that is it's very easy for young people to get so excited. You brought up something that this is why it stood out because you said that when you're asking questions and doing the consult to build that trust, that might be the first time this person's been able to like open up and talk to somebody in a while.
Yeah.
So but what we easily get in a crowd, what do people like to talk about the most? Themselves. Well, we're no
Yes.
different. So when you're behind the chair, how do you teach that redirect where somebody's like, well, what do you do for fun? Then you get all excited to tell them and it turns into this whole thing about you. How do you teach the redirect to say, oh, I love crafts and sports and this? How do you approach that or how important do you think that is?
I think it's super important. So I go over the 80/20. Like they should be talking 80% of the time, you should be talking 20. When you are talking, it should be 20% personal, 80% professional. Because at the end of the day, they want to know about them. And I also teach them that when two people get together, whether it's in the chair, behind the chair, it's like the person that talked the most is leaving that relationship feeling like it went great. Did you write that too?
I wrote, whoever talks the most thinks it went the best.
Yes. Right. So when you become aware, and I think you use the words that self-awareness, what we don't know, we don't know. So when you become aware of that, then I just want to sit back, ask questions. I'll share something personal. During COVID, I went through a divorce.
Hmm.
I was completely heartbroken. Um, I did not talk about it for 2 years. One, because we lived in the same town and everything, and just being like I couldn't even like tap into that. But what I learned was it was easy not to talk about it for 2 years because people talk about themselves. So it wasn't like I was like, it wasn't that hard. I would ask questions and people would just like talk about,
Mm,
themselves. So it got me through like a really difficult time in my life.
mm.
But when you're aware of that, It can work to your benefit too, and make them feel good at the end of it.
I think that's why you've been on so many times and we love each other because we have these feel good, really well give and take conversations, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, and
um,
authenticity, right?
yeah.
That's the other thing too. I said to the girls about I said, you can't go up there with a fake smile and have a high-pitched voice like you're trying. I'm like, you still have to be
Mm,
you.
mm,
Like just
mm.
be genuine and be real and be authentic, but really go with that. I want to make this person feel really good and heard and seen today. And I'm going to make them feel important and then be you. And it's a win
Yeah.
in growing.
Well, speaking of growing, what's one personal goal that you have for yourself and your growth goals over the course of this year?
Wow. Well, I just finished a rapid transformational therapy. I think it's just a continuance of like personally just continuing to grow. I don't know, in like every aspect. Do you know? Being, a better me, a better mom, a better grandmother, a better partner, better friend, better daughter, like so I think it's always going to be a lifelong, like as long as I'm growing. I just took a class in positive psychology at Harvard. And I think again, it's that awareness of, the happiness advantage. So I think I'm just interested. I'm like that person that lives life through curiosity over fear. And so it's like I think people are fascinating. And I just want to be the best version of me. And that's like a ongoing thing. And then there's always health and, fitness too. So get leaner, build more muscle. I could go down that path.
Well, I know that you value health and well-being, so I know that that's a big focus for you. And I think it's cool. Like what I'm hearing is one of your main values of your personal life is lifelong learning, and so I love that. What are your main goals for Elon Hair Studio over the course of this year?
We really we've been educating the whole time. I think COVID again like put like and then moving, I didn't have any time for education. So this year, I'm growing our education team more. We have level one because we have everybody on like they're on a level system. We have level one education too. So I think getting back to that grounding that of education, we switched color lines, so that's an ongoing thing. Really growing our own team. Like we start at the apprentice level, so it's not like I'm looking externally, so really growing the team.
Mhm.
In both salons.
Cool.
Like growing them, not more people, but growing them,
Yep.
you know?
Well, at the very beginning, that's what you really brought up, is this is about the people and
Yeah.
helping them have great lives first and foremost, and just
Oh,
as an individual. Yeah.
I was gonna say one of the girls just bought her own house last month. Or actually this month, it was this month. And that's a great reward knowing that she did that on her own, you know? So that's what you get back in return is like that's wonderful like when you know that that was created by this little environment that everybody's created.
Well, I think that what I've come to know about you is as motivated as you are to have personal growth and development, you are equally, if not more motivated to serve and just be others focused. And I really love that about you. And there's a lot of owners who are going to listen and just feel like probably reignited or inspired to go back to the fundamentals because those soft skills are one thing to do in this new technology driven world. It is the main thing. So I love that we spoke on this today. Kelly, before we're done, if you have final words of encouragement for owners or leaders listening today, what would you want to tell them?
Well, one, I think be kind to yourself and watch yourself, your self-talk. I think we can be hard on ourselves. And I think look for the good. I guess that would be like something that just popped in my head anyway, because I asked a question in my team meeting. It's like, does everybody think everyone is doing their best. And, who does? And I had some arms raised, like there was a lot of people that like don't think that everybody's doing their best. So I asked them to ask me, like, ask me if I think everybody in the salon is doing their best. And so they asked me, and I said yes, because I choose to see that. I choose to believe that everybody's doing the best, perhaps where they are, right? Um, but it's really important that you look for that. I mean, that's a horrible feeling, like if you're coming into work looking for something, what they're doing wrong, because you're gonna find it.
Yep.
So I think that mindset and know whatever whatever you believe is true.
Yeah.
So you can always work on something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you continue to put in the work and effort to growing your business. It's paying off, and you're a beautiful human being, both inside and definitely outside. So, if everybody listening wants to share this with their team, you can also watch today's conversation on our YouTube channel. Kelly, thanks for joining me again. You're the best, and I really appreciate you.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you appreciate this platform, please take a moment, leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like you will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you're supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.
Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.